The thunderous applause erupted for nearly 90 seconds straight, and Prince William had not even begun speaking yet. That is the moment playing out across every screen in Britain right now, a moment so powerful and so telling that it has sparked a nationwide conversation about the future of the monarchy and the complete obliteration of one prince's public image. While William stood bathed in genuine adoration from thousands of cheering supporters, reports emerged that any mention of his estranged brother drew nothing but awkward, uncomfortable silence from the very same crowd. Folks, if you want to understand the brutal reality of where these two brothers stand today, that contrast tells you absolutely everything you need to know. What makes this even more devastating is what insiders are revealing about the strategy behind it all. Sources close to the palace claim that William has stopped mentioning Harry entirely in both public and private settings, not out of pain, not out of grief, but as a calculated decision to erase his brother from the royal narrative completely. One senior aide put it bluntly to reporters, stating that His Royal Highness has moved beyond anger into something far more powerful, which is complete indifference. And let me tell you, there is nothing more devastating than being treated as though you simply do not exist by the one person whose acknowledgement you desperately crave. The timing of William's recent high-profile appearances has raised eyebrows across media circles. Every single time the Sussexes announce something, whether it is a new project, a public appearance, or yet another interview teasing revelations, William's team seemingly responds with a perfectly orchestrated counter-programming move. Royal correspondents have noted this pattern for months now, but sources are finally confirming what many suspected. This is no coincidence. According to those familiar with palace operations, William's scheduling team maintains what they internally call an awareness calendar that tracks Sussex media moments and strategically positions Wales wins to overshadow them. One media analyst described it as a masterclass in soft power warfare. The results speak for themselves with brutal clarity. William's approval ratings have climbed to historic highs while Harry's continue their relentless downward trajectory. Public sentiment has shifted so dramatically that even outlets once sympathetic to the Sussexes are now questioning whether Harry miscalculated everything about his departure from royal life. The prince who once commanded global sympathy now struggles to fill modest venues while his brother receives standing ovations at every turn. Let that sink in for a moment. The younger brother who claimed he left for freedom and authenticity is being systematically overshadowed by the very institution he criticized. But what William did at his most recent engagement sent a message so clear that even the most casual observer could not miss its significance. And insiders say it was deliberately designed to demonstrate exactly who holds the power now. The state of the Windsor brothers in early 2025 could not present a more striking divergence if it were scripted by Hollywood writers seeking maximum dramatic impact. On one side of the Atlantic, Prince William has emerged as the undisputed face of modern British royalty, commanding respect from world leaders, genuine affection from the public, and a portfolio of meaningful charitable work that has tangibly improved lives. On the other side, Prince Harry reportedly struggles to maintain relevance in a California media landscape that has grown tired of his grievances and increasingly skeptical of his brand value. The contrast is not subtle. It is absolutely staggering in its completeness. Perhaps nothing illustrates this reversal of fortunes more clearly than the Netflix situation. The very streaming platform that paid the Sussexes a reported $100 million for their content is now reportedly courting Prince William for documentary projects. Sources within the entertainment industry claim that Netflix executives have privately expressed regret over their Sussex investment, with one insider revealing that the streaming giant wants access to real royalty, not exiled complainers. Allow me to translate what that actually means. Netflix has realized that authentic connection to the institution sells better than criticism of it, and William represents everything Harry gave away. The irony here is so thick you could choke on it. Harry left the royal family claiming he wanted freedom from the constraints of palace life, freedom to speak his truth, freedom to build something meaningful on his own terms. Yet it is William who now commands the global stage with an effortless authority that Harry could never achieve from his Montecito mansion. William travels the world meeting heads of state while Harry reportedly cold calls podcasters hoping for interview slots. William announces charitable initiatives that attract millions in funding while Harry's Archewell Foundation limps along with a skeleton crew. The prince who stayed has become everything the prince who left claimed he wanted to be. This pattern of Sussex overshadowing has become so predictable that media analysts now treat it as an expected phenomenon. Whenever Harry and Meghan announce a new venture, commentators immediately begin speculating about what the Wales team will deploy in response. And without fail, within 24 to 48 hours, a perfectly timed palace announcement or William appearance dominates the news cycle. One veteran royal correspondent noted that the Sussexes must feel like they are playing chess against a grandmaster who always sees 3 moves ahead. And honestly, that assessment might even be generous to Harry's strategic capabilities. Insiders with knowledge of palace operations are confirming what many have long suspected about the coordination behind these counter moves. This is not reactive scheduling but a proactive campaign designed to demonstrate that the monarchy thrives without its wayward prince. One source close to the situation revealed that the message from the Wales camp is unmistakable, stating that we will outwork them, outshine them, and outlast them without ever stooping to acknowledge their existence. If that is not a declaration of soft power warfare, I do not know what is. But the Netflix power shift reveals something even more damaging about the Sussexes' position, and what platform executives are reportedly saying behind closed doors should terrify Harry and Meghan. Netflix's reported approach to Prince William for documentary content represents nothing less than a seismic shift in Hollywood's royal calculus. According to entertainment industry sources, the streaming giant has grown increasingly frustrated with the underperformance of its Sussex investment and is now actively seeking to diversify its royal portfolio with what executives privately call the legitimate article. The same platform that once bet heavily on Harry and Meghan's narrative of escape and liberation is now allegedly pursuing the very institution they fled. If that is not a devastating commentary on how the Sussex brand has deteriorated, nothing is ox. The numbers tell a brutal story that no amount of public relations spin can soften. While the Sussex documentary initially drew strong viewership, subsequent projects have failed to capture audiences at anything close to the same level. Industry analysts point out that outrage and sympathy have a limited shelf life, and the Sussexes appear to have exhausted both. One streaming executive speaking on condition of anonymity was particularly blunt, stating that we bet on controversy and got diminishing returns, adding that William offers something far more valuable, which is sustained, positive global interest. That assessment should send chills down Harry's spine because it suggests his primary selling point, his willingness to criticize the royals, has become a liability rather than an asset. Contrast this with the reported enthusiasm surrounding potential William content. Sources claim Netflix executives are particularly interested in William's charitable work, his modernization of royal engagement, and his handling of Catherine's health journey. The pitch, according to those familiar with discussions, emphasizes access over accusations. Executives allegedly want behind-the-scenes glimpses of a working royal, not more grievance airing from an exiled one. One industry insider described the approach as Netflix trying to course-correct by signing the prince people actually want to watch. The cruel irony extends beyond mere business considerations into deeply personal territory. Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal was supposed to be their ticket to financial independence and cultural relevance. It was the crown jewel of their post-royal portfolio, the proof that they could thrive outside the palace walls. Instead, that same platform may soon feature content celebrating the brother Harry feels betrayed by and the institution he spent years attacking. Imagine watching Netflix promote William as the authentic face of modern royalty, while your own deal languishes in development. That is the reality Harry may soon face. Royal commentators have not been kind in their assessment of this power shift. One prominent analyst noted that Harry essentially gave Netflix a roadmap to the royals, and now they are using it to go around him entirely. Another observed that the Sussexes made themselves dispensable by being difficult to work with while producing content that failed to justify their enormous price tag. Sources within the streaming industry suggest that Harry and Meghan's reported demands and drama during production have made executives eager to find alternative royal content that comes without the headaches. But William's professional victory over his brother was about to become deeply personal, and the public adoration gap between these two princes has grown into an unbridgeable chasm. The scenes at William's recent public engagements have been nothing short of extraordinary in their emotional intensity. Crowds surge forward hoping for a moment of connection. Children wave homemade signs declaring their love for the future king. Adults openly weep when William stops to speak with them, their faces radiating genuine warmth and gratitude for his presence. This is not manufactured enthusiasm or obligatory royal deference. This is authentic public adoration of a kind that money cannot buy and public relations cannot fabricate. William has achieved something remarkable in the aftermath of his family's trials. He has become genuinely beloved. The contrast with Harry's public reception could not be more stark or more humiliating for the younger prince. Reports from Harry's recent American appearances describe modest crowds, awkward silences when he speaks, and a palpable sense that attendees are there out of curiosity rather than affection. One observer at a recent Sussex event described the atmosphere as feeling like a meet and greet with a reality star rather than a prince, adding that there was polite interest but no warmth, no genuine connection, no sense that anyone in the room actually cared about him. That is a devastating assessment for a man who once commanded genuine global sympathy. The polling data confirms what these anecdotal observations suggest. William's approval ratings have soared to levels not seen since the immediate aftermath of Princess Diana's death, when public affection for her sons reached historic heights. Meanwhile, Harry's approval has collapsed to the point where more Britons view him unfavorably than favorably, a stunning reversal for someone who was once among the most popular members of the royal family. One pollster noted that Harry has managed to squander one of the greatest reservoirs of public goodwill in modern royal history through relentless complaining and perceived ingratitude. What separates William's public reception from Harry's goes deeper than mere approval ratings or crowd sizes. William has demonstrated something through his handling of Catherine's cancer diagnosis that Harry's grievance tour could never achieve. He has shown grace under unimaginable pressure. While his wife battled a life-threatening illness and his father simultaneously fought cancer, William continued his public duties with quiet dignity, never seeking sympathy, never making the crisis about himself, never using his family's pain for content. The public noticed. The public rewarded that restraint with the kind of respect that transcends royal obligation. Sources close to the Wales household reveal that William is acutely aware of the public adoration gap, but takes no satisfaction in his brother's decline. One insider described the prince as sad rather than triumphant about the comparison, stating that he genuinely wishes things had turned out differently but recognizes that Harry made choices and continues to make choices that push him further from public affection. Another source noted that William understands that his current popularity comes partly from contrast with Harry, and that it brings him no joy to be elevated by his brother's fall. Yet the strategic implications of this adoration gap cannot be ignored by either camp. Every standing ovation for William reinforces the narrative that the monarchy is thriving without Harry. Every lukewarm reception for Harry confirms suspicions that his relevance continues to fade. The brothers are now engaged in a popularity contest that neither asked for but both must navigate. And William is winning by such a decisive margin that the competition itself seems almost cruel. And then came the event that made the contrast between these brothers absolutely undeniable, a moment so powerful that it will define their relationship in the public imagination for years to come. Prince William's strategic silence regarding his brother has proven more devastating than any public condemnation could ever be. In an era when every slight demands a response and every grievance requires airing, William has chosen the most powerful weapon available to him, which is complete and utter indifference. He does not acknowledge Harry in interviews. He does not reference Sussex controversies in statements. He has effectively removed his brother from the Wales narrative as thoroughly as if Harry had never existed at all. And folks, for a man desperate to remain relevant, being treated as invisible is the ultimate psychological torture. Insiders with knowledge of palace operations reveal that this silence is not merely instinctive, but explicitly instructional. Sources claim that William has directed his staff with a clear mandate stating that they simply do not exist in our narrative. Team members are reportedly forbidden from engaging with Sussex stories, commenting on Sussex projects, or even privately discussing Sussex controversies where it might leak to press. The wall of silence is total, intentional, and according to those familiar with William's thinking, permanent. One aide described it as scorched earth without the fire, saying they are not burning bridges because they have simply stopped acknowledging the bridge exists. The strategic genius of this approach becomes clear when you examine how media operates in the royal space. Journalists crave conflict. They want statement and counter-statement, accusation and response, drama and resolution. By refusing to engage, William denies media the royal feud narrative they desperately want to write. Every Sussex criticism lands in silence. Every accusation echoes without response. The story becomes not two brothers fighting, but one brother working, while the other shouts into the void. That is a devastating reframe that Harry seems powerless to combat. Media analysts and royal experts have praised this non-engagement strategy as a masterclass in modern reputation management. One communications professor noted that William understands something fundamental that Harry has never grasped, which is that in the attention economy, engagement equals amplification. By refusing to engage with Harry's narrative, William denies it oxygen, while his own story of dedication and service fills the vacuum. Another expert observed that Harry is essentially shadowboxing against an opponent who has left the ring entirely, leaving him looking foolish while William focuses on substantive work. The psychological impact on Harry must be considerable if reports about his mental state are accurate. Sources claim that Harry is deeply frustrated by his inability to provoke a response from William. He reportedly views the silence not as strategic but as personal rejection, a confirmation that his brother has genuinely moved on without him. One insider described Harry as simultaneously wanting reconciliation and wanting a fight, neither of which William will provide. The silence leaves Harry in limbo, unable to heal the rift because William will not acknowledge there is anything to discuss, and unable to escalate because William will not take the bait. But while William maintains flawless composure in public, sources reveal that behind closed doors his feelings about Harry are far from neutral, and what he has reportedly said about his brother and sister-in-law should shock absolutely no one. The public sees a prince in complete control of his emotions, delivering speeches with warmth and engaging crowds with genuine connection. But insiders paint a dramatically different picture of William's private sentiments regarding his estranged brother. Sources close to the prince reveal that behind closed doors, William has expressed feelings of profound betrayal and has reportedly declared himself done with any attempts at reconciliation. The future king has apparently concluded that the brother he grew up with, the brother he once protected, the brother he stood beside at their mother's funeral, is simply gone, and the man who replaced him is a stranger William no longer wishes to know. Reports suggest that William places significant blame on Meghan for the deterioration of his relationship with Harry. Sources claim the prince views her influence as having stolen his brother in a way that feels permanent and irreversible. One insider revealed that William has privately said he does not recognize the person Harry has become, attributing the transformation to what he sees as Meghan's systematic isolation of Harry from everyone who loved him. Whether that assessment is fair or not, it represents William's genuine belief about what happened to his brother, and beliefs drive behavior regardless of their accuracy. The contrast between William's public grace and private fury demonstrates the effectiveness of his royal training in ways Harry never managed to replicate. While Harry processes his emotions publicly through interviews, documentaries, and memoirs, William compartmentalizes with the discipline expected of a future monarch. He can reportedly spend a morning expressing genuine frustration about Harry in private meetings, then emerge to deliver a flawless public engagement without a trace of that anger showing. One observer described it as watching a masterclass in emotional management, noting that whatever William feels inside never disrupts his external performance. Perhaps most revealing are reports about how William has used his brother's trajectory as a teaching tool for his own children. Sources claim the prince views Harry's journey as a cautionary tale about what happens when you prioritize grievance over gratitude, celebrity over duty, self over family. While the specifics of these lessons remain private, insiders suggest William has been explicit with Prince George about understanding the consequences of abandoning responsibility. One source noted that William wants his children to see their uncle's choices clearly, not as a path to freedom but as a path to isolation. The emotional complexity of William's position deserves acknowledgement, even as we recognize his strategic mastery. This is a man who lost his mother tragically young, who then lost his brother to choices he cannot understand, and who faced his wife's cancer diagnosis while managing it all in the public eye. The fact that he has emerged from these trials with his reputation enhanced rather than diminished speaks to a resilience that Harry has never demonstrated. William has had every excuse to crack, to rage, to seek sympathy. Instead, he has simply continued working, and the public has rewarded that dedication with their unwavering support. Meanwhile, Harry was receiving devastating news from unexpected sources that reportedly confirmed his worst fears about his standing in both Hollywood and his homeland. The reports emerging from Montecito paint a picture of a household under increasing strain as professional failures compound personal tensions. Sources claim that Harry and Meghan are experiencing significant friction as their various projects fail to gain traction, and their relevance continues to fade. The couple who once presented a united front against the world are now reportedly operating on separate schedules, pursuing separate projects, and maintaining what one insider described as separate lives under the same very expensive roof. If these reports are accurate, the Sussex marriage may be buckling under pressures that neither partner anticipated. Industry sources reveal that Hollywood has grown tired of waiting for the Sussexes to deliver on their enormous potential. The Netflix deal has underperformed. The Spotify partnership ended acrimoniously, with executives reportedly calling the couple grifters. Their production company has failed to produce content that justifies their reported overhead costs. One entertainment industry veteran was particularly harsh in their assessment, stating that Harry and Meghan came to Hollywood thinking they were A-list stars when they were really just curiosities, adding that curiosities have a shelf life and theirs has expired. That is a brutal verdict from an industry that initially welcomed them with open arms. Reports suggest that Harry is privately expressing regret about decisions made during the transition away from royal life. Sources claim he is keen to escape pressures at home and misses aspects of royal life he once dismissed as constraining. The structure, the purpose, the clear role within a larger mission, these are things Harry allegedly craves but can no longer access. One insider revealed that Harry sometimes wonders what his life would look like if he had stayed, if he had found a way to work within the system rather than burning it down. Those doubts, if accurate, must be agonizing for a man who sacrificed everything for the life he now questions. Perhaps most devastating are the whispers about Harry's private reflections on his wife's assurances during their courtship. Sources claim Harry blames himself for trusting Meghan's promises about family acceptance, her claims that her previous marriage had prepared her for royal life, her confidence that they could build something meaningful outside the institution. One insider described Harry as haunted by the gap between what he was promised and what he received, suggesting the prince feels he was sold a vision that never materialized. Whether Meghan intentionally misled him or simply underestimated the challenges they would face, the result has been profound disappointment. The isolation of Montecito has reportedly become oppressive for Harry in ways he never anticipated. Cut off from childhood friends, estranged from family, surrounded by his wife's network rather than his own, sources describe the prince as lonely in a way that California sunshine cannot remedy. One person familiar with Harry's state noted that he gave up everything for freedom and discovered that freedom without connection is just a different kind of prison. That observation, if accurate, represents a tragic realization for a man who once seemed so certain about his path. And William's next move would pour salt directly into these wounds, reminding Harry and the world exactly what he walked away from. Prince William's recent achievements read like a masterclass in modern royal relevance conducted specifically to humiliate his absent brother. Successful international tours generating overwhelmingly positive coverage, speeches receiving praise from world leaders and ordinary citizens alike, charitable initiatives attracting millions in funding and genuine public engagement. William has assembled a portfolio of accomplishments that any public figure would envy, made all the more impressive by the personal challenges he has navigated simultaneously. The future king is not just surviving the spotlight, he is thriving in it with an authority Harry could never achieve. The media game that Harry once believed he could dominate from California has proven to be William's arena instead. While Harry chases podcasters and negotiates with streaming platforms from a position of declining leverage, William commands coverage simply by showing up. His engagements generate headlines that Sussex announcements cannot match. His statements carry weight that Harry's complaints have squandered. One media analyst noted that William has achieved something remarkable, stating that he has made royal coverage boring in the best possible way because there is no drama, no controversy, just effective public service that gives media nothing to criticize. The cruel irony that commentators repeatedly highlight is how thoroughly William has claimed the mantle Harry preached but never earned. Harry talked about modernizing the monarchy while William actually did it. Harry spoke about mental health awareness, while William created substantive programs addressing it. Harry criticized royal stuffiness, while William found ways to connect with ordinary people that feel genuine rather than performative. In every area where Harry positioned himself as a reformer, William has delivered the reform without the self-congratulation. Sources within the palace describe William's current approach as purposeful visibility designed to demonstrate the monarchy's vitality. Every engagement is chosen carefully to reinforce specific themes about service, connection, and continuity. Every speech is crafted to balance tradition with modernity in ways that resonate across generations. One aide revealed that William is intensely focused on proving that the institution works precisely because he has seen what happens when someone bets against it. That someone, of course, is his brother, though the aide would never say so directly. The international reception of William has been particularly notable in recent months. World leaders seek meetings with him. Foreign media covers his visits with genuine enthusiasm rather than royal obligation. He has become, in the words of one diplomatic observer, the most effective soft power asset Britain possesses at a time when soft power matters enormously. Compare that with Harry's international standing, where he is increasingly viewed as a celebrity oddity rather than a figure of genuine significance. The gap between their global receptions mirrors the domestic approval disparity in ways that must be devastating for the younger brother. Royal historians are already writing the narrative of William's ascension as one of the great success stories of modern monarchy, a prince who emerged from personal tragedy and family drama to claim his rightful place with grace and purpose. Harry's role in that narrative is increasingly that of a cautionary footnote, the brother who could have been but chose a different path. That framing will only intensify as William moves closer to the throne he was born to inherit. But one particular moment captured everything about the brothers' divergent trajectories in devastating clarity, a scene so powerful that it has come to symbolize the complete reversal of their fortunes. The recent appearance that crystallized William's triumph occurred at a major public event where thousands gathered to see the future king. What unfolded was not merely positive reception but genuine emotional outpouring that left observers stunned by its intensity. The crowd erupted in sustained applause before William even reached the podium. They chanted his name with affection rather than obligation. When he spoke, they listened with rapt attention, and when he finished, they rose in standing ovation that continued for minutes. This was not staged enthusiasm. This was authentic public love for a man who has earned it through years of dedicated service. Body language experts who analyzed footage of the event noted William's quiet confidence throughout the proceedings. He did not seek the adulation or seem surprised by it. He accepted it with grace while maintaining focus on the purpose of his appearance. One analyst described his demeanor as someone who knows his worth without needing to prove it, a stark contrast with reports about Harry's increasing anxiety at public events. William has become comfortable in his role in ways that Harry never achieved, and now cannot access from his position of self-exile. The timing of this triumphant appearance coincided almost perfectly with Sussex news that should have dominated headlines. Harry and Meghan had announced yet another project, yet another venture, yet another attempt to reclaim relevance. Instead, that news was buried beneath coverage of William's reception. Social media erupted not with discussion of Sussex plans, but with clips of the crowd cheering for the future king. The counterprogramming was so effective that some commentators suggested the palace had achieved a new level of media mastery, though others pointed out that William simply generates more organic interest than his brother at this point. Online reaction to the contrast between the brothers was merciless, in ways that must wound Harry deeply. Compilations comparing crowd sizes spread virally. Side-by-side images of William's emotional welcomes versus Harry's awkward appearances generated millions of engagements. Memes portraying Harry as irrelevant while William thrives became inescapable across platforms. The internet, which once embraced Harry as the relatable royal, has turned decisively against him while elevating William to almost saint-like status. Public sentiment can shift rapidly, but this particular shift has shown remarkable staying power. Sources close to both camps reveal that the implications of moments like these are not lost on either brother. William reportedly views such receptions as validation of his approach, confirmation that staying the course and focusing on service generates genuine connection that shortcuts and grievances cannot replicate. Harry, meanwhile, allegedly reacts to coverage of William's triumphs with a mixture of jealousy and confusion, reportedly unable to understand how his brother commands affection he once took for granted himself. The psychological toll of watching William succeed must compound Harry's reported struggles with his own declining relevance. What comes next could end Harry's public relevance entirely, as William prepares for the responsibilities that will make his brother's exile permanent in ways beyond simple geography. The complete picture emerging from this royal drama is one of devastating clarity that should trouble anyone who once hoped for reconciliation between the Windsor brothers. William is winning through action, through service, through quiet dedication to the role he was born to fulfill. Harry is losing through complaint, through grievance, through a seemingly endless series of decisions that distance him further from the institution and the public that once embraced him. The contrast is no longer subject to interpretation. It is simply observable fact confirmed by every metric available. The question of whether Harry recognizes the self-inflicted nature of his image destruction haunts those who once knew him well. Sources suggest he blames Meghan, blames the media, blames the palace, blames everyone except the one person whose choices actually drove this outcome. The prince who once captivated the world with his charm and vulnerability has become a cautionary tale about what happens when victimhood becomes identity and complaint becomes strategy. One former associate described it as watching someone drown while insisting the water does not exist. That metaphor captures the tragedy of Harry's situation with uncomfortable precision. Royal watchers predict the gap between these brothers will only widen as William approaches kingship and the responsibilities that accompany it. When King Charles eventually passes the crown to his elder son, William will assume a role that places him at the center of British national identity. Harry, meanwhile, will remain in California exile, increasingly irrelevant to the institution he once served and the country he once represented. The coronation of King William will mark the final symbolic separation between the brothers, a moment when Harry's choices become permanently irreversible in the public imagination. The provocative question many are now asking is whether William has already erased Harry from the royal story and from public memory itself. The strategy of silence, the counterprogramming of Sussex news, the relentless focus on positive coverage for the Wales family, all of it suggests a systematic campaign to remove Harry from the narrative entirely. In 10 years, will casual observers even remember that William had a brother who left? Will Harry be a footnote or completely forgotten? The trajectory suggests the latter is increasingly possible. What Harry chose to abandon becomes clearer with each passing month of William's success. He walked away from purpose. He walked away from structure. He walked away from a platform that could have amplified his voice for genuine good rather than personal grievance. He walked away from a brother who, despite everything, reportedly once loved him deeply. And he walked away from a public that was prepared to support him through anything, if only he had trusted them enough to stay. Those losses cannot be recovered. Those bridges cannot be rebuilt. The erasure William is conducting is merely the final acknowledgement of choices Harry made himself. Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not believe what is coming next.